Hi, welcome to Level 30, the podcast made by Scots for whoever wants to listen. Thank you very much. Nailed it.
Woo!
So, my name is Jen. I am the resident novice gamer, heavy on the Scottish history facts, and I'll pass you over to Scott.
Hi, I'm Scott, half elf Rose, whatever you want to call me. I am somewhere in the middle, I guess. I'm not a novice, I'm not an expert. I am me. Welcome.
I am Will Arkong, the resident streamer and VTuber out of the group, somewhat expert on most things knowledgeable about computer games and video games.
And I am Isla, also known as Zesty Todd, and I'm the resident control freak because I try and keep everyone in line and try and move us on when we get into dangerous topics. So yeah, it's me.
Boring. No, I'm kidding.
Totally
Hey, it's
boring.
needed. It's needed.
So, what is the topic of conversation today?
I have a question for you.
Oh.
The question is, when you're watching streamers online, do you have a gender that you usually veer to? And the reason I'm asking this is on two parts, because all of the really big name streamers or gamers are predominantly men. You've got Mr. Beast, you've got Game Grumps, you've got I can't even name any other. PewDiePie, that was the one I was trying to think of.
PewDiePie, Jacksepticeye.
All men. And I hadn't even clocked it before I saw a Reddit thread for someone, and I do apologize if this is you. I don't want to put you on the spot. But they were saying that they don't like female streamers because of the persona they put on, which is, hi, peppy, oh my gosh, like high-pitched and welcome. Whereas some people obviously gravitate to that because that gets them viewers. So I wanted to ask, what do you like watching? And do you think there's a reason for that maybe gender imbalance?
So I'll answer this by not really answering it. So I normally watch Scottish streamers, predominantly Scottish streamers. I don't really have a bias towards their gender or anything like that. But what I have noticed when I did stream, and it was always men who would come in, and I remember this one comment in particular where it was, do you know what? I think I'm going to follow you because you haven't got your tits out.
Which is awful.
And
That's
I was
like, it doesn't. Oh,
I was like, okay. Like,
why, thank you so much, sir, for pointing that out and for putting us all in a fucking box about depending on how women dress, you're going to give us a follow.
Yeah. And
Thank you for coming into my stream and commenting on how I'm not sexualizing myself by inadvertently sexualizing me. Thank you for that.
Exactly. So I had found that there were certain people that would come in my stream and be like, not really for me, or yes, no, I like you, but I don't like you because you're funny or you're entertaining or you're playing a game that I really like or I really want to watch. I'm going to follow you because you haven't got your tits out, because women streaming, and I follow a lot of women on Twitch. I follow a lot of men on Twitch as well, but I follow a lot of women on Twitch, and I have to say the women that I follow tend to not have their tits out. Look at that. It's almost as if we are complete human beings.
Wow.
Who knew? So yeah, I don't have a gender preference at all. I really don't. But I would say the games that I'm more inclined to are more games that I guess women would play, if that makes sense. So for me, it's about their personalities. Like, so if their personalities are really like, they're really into, like, there's this American woman, I think she's American, that I follow, and she dresses up in a Star Trek uniform and speaks Klingon and streams Star Trek, and I'm like, yes, like that is the content. So it totally depends to me on their personality, their sort of how nerdy they are, and what game they're streaming. So that's my answer, but I don't have a gender preference, I have to say.
Scott, Walt?
Yeah, so I do, and I have a reason for it. I don't watch a lot of streams, and I tend to watch them based on the game. And it kind of comes down to not wanting to come across as a coomer. Like, there's a lot of really popular streamers who do like sexualize themselves, and that's absolutely fine. Like Amaranth is a huge one from a couple of years ago. I don't know if she's still about, but that's the first name that sprang to mind. And I tend to not avoid, but I don't gravitate towards women's streams because I don't want to be perceived as a pervert who's only there because they're hot. You know what I mean, though? So I tend to gravitate more towards LGBTQ plus streamers. So it's not necessarily gender specifically, but a lot of the time it will be kind of the game and the vibe of the community more for me. But as I said, I do have a big worry about the perception of
To
like,
be
oh,
God
you
bless
you
bro.
follow Amaranth,
being a creep. Yeah, that's what it is for me. It's the vibe of the community for me.
Mhm.
You know, it's basically if you're like a cool person, if our personalities match, that's who I'm gonna follow. You know, I'm not gonna sit and watch, you know, a man who doesn't speak playing Call of Duty for 3 hours, who doesn't acknowledge
He
his
just has
chat.
fantastic cheekbones.
Yeah.
You're not doing it for how they look.
No, not at all. It's their vibe, you know. Like in the same time, like I'm not gonna watch women who their personalities don't. I have more of a masculine energy towards me anyway. So women who are overly feminine, I'm like I can't get on board with. The same with men who are overly masculine. I can't get on board with. The LGBT is probably a fantastic way to put it because they are sort of like the place I feel most comfortable with as well, you know? So it's all about the vibe of the person. There's not a gender specific for me, it's about the vibe.
Well, I know you've got a perspective from the VTubing community because I've noticed a lot of VTubers, particularly women, tend to do a lot better than
Yeah.
in comparison.
It is a weird mixed bag. Being part of the VTuber community, there's a lot of discourse on male VTubers. VTubers get looked down a lot already in the streaming community, but male VTubers get looked down even more. So there's this argument that goes back and forth, or maybe people just clout chasing with their tweets, going, "I like male VTubers and all that. Show me your links and stuff." Yeah, there's a lot of that. There's a lot of when people are doing VTubing, there is people who are identify as male and are male in real life, but they use a female avatar instead. I was like looking at the top streamers of February 2025, and the first female I got to was 83 on the list. And that was Emma Ruth, and then followed the next female was 91, and that was Iron Mouse, who is a female VTuber.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
did you-
Iron Mouse is a really interesting case as well.
Yep.
I don't know a huge amount about her, but from what I've heard, Iron Mouse is a VTuber because she's like chronically unwell and
Yeah.
wouldn't be on camera for that reason.
She has this chronic illness and she's ill, and like that's what she's like saying. She's like, I would put myself in camera, but you're just going to see this girl in a medical bed with all this tubes and everything strapped to her, because she basically just works from her bed. But she's getting better now, actually, apparently.
Well, you like watching female streamers,
I don't.
female VTubers.
I genuinely don't like the most popular VTubers are predominantly female, because like God, I can only think of a handful of like really popular male VTubers. Kanan Kuro, he's part of VShojo. Then there's Kenji, who is basically the same as me. It's like the Wukong gimmick. But
So, one of the reasons I asked this is just to see what everyone's opinion was, but also, Jamie, when you started streaming, did you also have the same experience that people said that you'd be more successful because you were female?
Yes.
Like, again, it's blatant sexism.
Blatant sexism. So I had a guy who was really helpful in setting up my stream because I didn't know what the hell I was doing, and kind of like coached me through it and was like, so you need OBS and this is a good webcam and this is a good microphone to have and blah 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 blah. And he said, so you need to give yourself, you know, graphics and like a banner and stuff. And he said, and it wasn't even meant in a bad way, but just when I imagine that you'd be into sort of Stardew Valley, cottagecore vibes. And I was like, you would assume wrong, completely wrong, actually. And he was like, oh, that's interesting. And he's like, but you'll have it much easier anyway because you're a girl. And I was like, how? Like how though? How? And actually, most of my viewership were women. You know, I had my sister who was very loyal to me, Isla, very loyal to me. But then I found loads of women who wanted to come in and were just happy to be there. And actually find myself like a lovely little community. I'm now like friends with a few of them on like Instagram, like proper like outside of Twitch friends now, like actual women friends. And I'm just like, you know, you can't say that it's going to be easier one way or the other because it's a male dominated industry. 100%, I understand that, but you're by saying it's easier for a woman, you're saying it's easier because people aren't coming in to watch you play games, which is the whole point of Twitch. People are coming in to pass judgment on how you look, and that just didn't really sit right with me, you know.
So what struck me with this Reddit thread was my immediate thought went to my training in the job that I do, and that I was taught to pitch my voice lower because our brains have been trained to tune in more to a deeper voice than a high pitched voice, because if your voice is deeper, you carry more authority. And it's the hello, I'm here versus hello, I'm here. Like, which one are you more likely to listen to or pay attention to? And I thought that's where my brain went when this Reddit thread popped up. I was like, is that why she prefers it? Is because the patriarchy has been training us for years to pay more attention to male voices or deeper voices. And then it could just be down to personal preference. Maybe she doesn't like high-pitched ones. Maybe she doesn't like a certain genre.
I think there's this mentality as well, is that it's like what I've heard that some people believe it's like starting off, it's a bit easier being a female, but then when it comes into
being
like
a woman, sorry,
no,
I hate
females
using the term female.
Oh, sorry, sorry.
Female.
But in the long run, it's then again it's male streamers do better. But I think it's one of the main things as well is people have that idea that it's easier being a woman at the beginning is because predominantly Twitch's viewers are teenage boys, basically. And
no, block that. Thank you.
Sorry.
If a teenage boy came into my stream and was blatantly 14, I think I'd just boot them.
I know.
Yeah,
Blatantly 14. That's the name of our
Yeah,
new podcast where we ban 14-year-olds from Twitch streams.
But yeah,
Are you
that's
14? Block.
that's the thing. You can only figure out the way that if they talk or that, because yes, we can click on the thing that says we are mature content and we can say 18 plus only. Anyone can get on. The only one way is if you type in somebody's Twitch chat, I'm 12, doesn't matter anyone's Twitch chat, you will automatically get banned because you're not meant to be that age.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
So
there's been.
Okay, I will never make that joke on Twitch.
Yeah, there's people who have made that joke, and yeah, they've caught people out.
Whoops.
Yeah, I think for a lot of people it does come down to the vibe of what, because if you're going to follow someone and if you're going to tune into their content, it needs their personalities need to align. Doesn't matter what they identify as. If your personalities align, that is what really makes a good connection. If the people in the chat are friendly and welcoming, that makes a good connection. If they're playing games that you relate to, that's what makes a good connection. You know, it's not about one way or the other, you know.
Yeah. And I also enjoyed how some people use their channel to get engagement with who does drop in. So it would be like the call to action would be something, and then it would result in fact, what's a really good example? The bonk feature or the rampage or whatever it's called, where you get to throw emotes at your VTuber, and barrage, that's it. I really enjoy doing that. And it's so
I love
much
throwing
fun.
things at my husband.
Yeah, I do. I'm not gonna lie. So yeah, it's the engagement in the channel. Like, what do I get other than just tuning in and listening to you? What sort of
Yeah.
engagement is there, that back and forth?
It's
Yeah.
to reiterate the both of these, it's all different things because God, I've been streaming now, and most of the time I'm lucky if I average 2 viewers, but recently I've been at least averaging between 5 and 10 viewers recently, and
Hey, congrats.
that was me just switching my game to play Final Fantasy X. And the whole thing with that is, yes, it's a popular game. Not many people are streaming it. This is another thing. If you're going to get into the streaming industry, don't just go, yep, I'm going to go on Fortnite. Everyone plays Fortnite. Yes, you're right. Everyone else plays and streams Fortnite. You're going to be in
It's saturated.
you're a drop in the ocean. But
Okay,
Yeah.
to wrap it up,
oh right, I was going to finish.
what is? Sorry, go, honey.
I was just going to say, yeah, but yeah, with Final Fantasy, not many people streamed it, so that means I was a viewer. And with games like that, everyone always has an opinion on that kind of game.
Mhm.
Yeah. The infamous ha 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 scene.
Oh no, I mean, just like, no, I should be, but I built this character like this. It's like, cool.
I
I'm
see.
having fun.
I do actually have a question about streams for you guys, or just content in general. So sorry, Isla, I know you're trying to move us along, but I do have a genuine question. Are there things that when you click on a stream or you click on a YouTube video of a content creator you're not familiar with, that are like instant no's for you, just like a
My
hard pass
question
immediately?
is,
Oh,
what
is it?
Yeah,
Eh,
what is a streamer ick that makes you switch off?
I've got one that's
Bad audio.
I've got a
Bad fucking audio.
Oh yeah, audio's number one actually. Yeah, because if the audio's terrible, as a person that studied in broadcast production, which was in radio and everything, the first thing you're going to do is hear a voice. The other thing, which is quite an interesting one, because I've since changed it, is pre-roll ads. So if you click on somebody's stream and you're already hit with
Yep.
an ad, so that's why now I've changed it now that I have, with every hour there's a 3-minute ad that plays. So that means if anyone was to click on my stream, they just instantly get on my stream.
Yeah, for me, it's people who don't talk to their audience. I feel like that is should be quite a obvious one, but yet there's so many people that I've clicked on, and I've went to the bother of being like, "Hi, how you doing?" And they're like, "Us," right?
That was me playing Baldur's Gate last year.
No, but I'm not talking about that, right? But then you're like, okay, where do I go from here? So
Fuck me, I
instantly,
guess.
yeah, I'll just go fuck myself. Great. And it's people who are just like, yeah, no. But what's so funny to me is they always in their bio, when you click on it, want to do this full time. And you're like, see, if you want to do this full time, you need to start fucking speaking to your audience.
It's the
You know?
difference between Twitch and
It's-
YouTube as a channel. If you're going to post stuff on YouTube, it's not player or streamer versus audience interaction. Therefore,
Yeah.
just record what you do and post it, as opposed to go on Twitch and try and get that interaction.
It's just a habit you need to get into when streaming.
Yeah.
Is you just need, even if it's not interacting with chat, because 100% of the time, heck, you might actually have 10 people in their chat, but they just want to watch, they don't want to interact.
Yeah,
You just have to talk shite.
you
Like,
just have to.
and you know, it got bad at one point because I don't play that many games off of stream other than like Balatro or TFT, but that's just kind of brain rot. When I was actually playing a normal game, I was running the commentary of what I would say in my head, and I'm like, nope, this isn't fun. I,
But you need to be talking all the time, you know, which is for me, like, I felt like I had to be so switched on again to be a woman streaming, yet you feel like I don't have the liberty to just sit and ignore people and just be like, right, yeah.
I don't think anyone has the liberty for that, because I
No,
don't
and
know
I don't.
of many channels that have done well on that. There are, for example, I always fall asleep to a video at night, and there was a while where I could not cope with voices. So what I would do is I would look up tool-assisted speedruns, and they were just these big long videos of, like Super Mario Bros. For the Wii. And it would just be the perfect run. They've like programmed everything absolutely perfectly. No talking. And it was just like something nice to fall asleep to. But yeah, I've never gone into a stream where they've not been talking and been like, this is great.
Like 100%, yeah.
My ick is I like that interaction. I like what Walt does with the boink the barrage. What I don't like is when there's too many and a lot of them are in jokes. And there's
Yes.
just, you go in and there's noise and there's things flying around on screen and it's too overwhelming. And then obviously it's fantastic when you're a streamer if you have your in group and they're there and they're supporting you, you've got your core audience.
Yeah.
But when I jump in, I want to be able to be welcome, but also know what on earth is going on. And there are moments where there's in jokes, and that's fine. But when there's emotes and chaos all over the screen, and I am just overwhelmed by noise and sound and visuals, I'm out. Like there's a time and a place, or there's a happy medium of, do this for a couple of minutes and then move on, rather than it being 3 hours of non-stop chaos.
Yeah.
That's my ick.
Definitely. Getting on like channel points and then you're looking through them and it's like Jimbo wears a hat. And you're like, what does that mean? What if I click on this? What is going to happen? And you don't want to look stupid.
Who is Jimbo?
Who's wearing a hat? And what does this mean? And you don't know if you should press it or if it's just an in joke, and you get very nervous. And it's all of that, It's all of that. So you just end up being like, hydrate? Question mark? Hydrate? Wanna hydrate? Like,
Staple works well.
I had this one example of a streamer that I raided, and then I was like instant regretted it. But first off, I couldn't comment on their stream because, and I always find it a red flag. You can only comment if you're a follower, so it's like, yep, that's you just baiting for follows, so you're getting that click. And then they just spent the entire time, shit talking the game. They had no valid point. They're just like, yeah, this game's rubbish. This is shit. And it's like, why is it shit? There's nothing wrong with it. You're just having to do a slight puzzle right now. That's the only thing. But yeah.
I'll rage on a game when I suck at it, but that's because I suck as opposed to it being a bad game.
Yeah, you just want to like my whole ethos when it came to streaming was like, this is an escape for a lot of people. It was a really good escape for me when I was watching. It continues to be. I'm not on Twitch regularly now, but it continues to be an escape. So you want that sort of escape for people, and you need to make it fun and you need to make it engaging. And it's like, if you're not living up to that, then fuck off. Actually, just fuck off. Honestly, because I think everybody thinks, but I think everybody thinks that they could make it as a streamer full time.
It's a lovely fantasy to have.
It's the 1%.
I had that one.
It's literally the 1% to be like.
It is the 1%, and it's like, we still need people to do normal jobs. Like there was like a survey. Sorry, I'm going off topic here, but there was a survey done recently, and it said that like X amount of teenagers, all they wanted to do was be an influencer. That's the dream now. That's what most of the teenagers that were questioned wanted to do. An influencer on Instagram, on YouTube, on Twitch, or whatever. And it's like, come on, guys, like we still need people out in the world. Like you can't all do it.
Agree with that. However, some of those people who are interested in influencing or streaming or whatever will maybe not make it on the streaming side of things, but might then go and follow a career into developing games or coding or whatever it is, and that's a growing avenue as a career. And I think that it's so easy to dismiss it as, oh, you want to be a YouTuber, really? Like, but then,
honey,
get your head out the clouds. But just because you can't make it as an influencer doesn't mean that there isn't a career to be had in the gaming or the media industry.
On Jamie saying that, it was like it was a Japanese survey, and it was like, oh, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I think it was the top 5, and it was like astronaut. I think there was doctor. Number 5 was a VTuber. like not even a streamer or anything, a VTuber specifically. I was like, yes. But no, like VTuber's massive in Japan. Like it was when we were in Akihabara, there was like a store that we went to, and right outside the store there was just a big gigantic TV with them on it, and they were just like, I would assume advertising the store. I didn't know that they were saying in Japanese, but yeah.
Walt comes and tells me all of these random things that VTubers get up to, and like is it a VTuber or is it a singer that has a VTube model that we're gonna go see, and we're gonna go see a light show of a singer?
They're not a VTuber. That they just don't like to show their face. That's it.
It's a VTuber. They've got a model.
No, they don't. It was just a drawing of them. That's it. They don't have a model or that.
We paid
Oh, is
money.
that Jaden?
Ado.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I don't.
Cool. All right, so I'm going because Wallace said let's go, but we've paid money to go see someone not perform.
They're
And
going to be there.
That's
They,
wild.
but you don't see it.
you
Yeah,
do
how do you know?
because you see,
That's
right? I
wild.
I explained this to you. They're on
Mhm.
stage, but they have a gigantic like light behind them, so all you can see is their silhouette.
It boggles my mind.
Yeah.
I've paid to go not see someone perform.
Yeah. But then also like VTubing kind of boggles my mind.
Mm.
Like I
That's
don't
Wallace Avenue.
yeah, I don't fully understand it. I understand like you were talking about that like chronically ill woman. I think that's fantastic
know.
because she's getting hopefully money from this.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a
Um,
reason behind it. There's a reason
And
she
there's
cannot
like a
appear.
medical reason, and that's fantastic. And she's reclaiming and she's bringing joy to people, but she's also finding herself as well instead of getting all the mental health issues that would be
Mm.
being stuck in a hospital bed. So, but the general population of VTubers, well, you are a VTuber.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. I remember when you made the switch from real life streamer to VTuber,
Yeah.
and I was asking you loads of
We're
questions.
not allowed to talk about that.
No, well, I'm not dropping
No, it's
any
fine.
names.
I mentioned like previous before I was a VTuber.
But I still don't
Yeah.
fully understand it.
People do it for a lot of reasons. Like people do like the biggest one that people do it for is they're shy on camera. Like they don't. But then this gives like something you can attach a voice to, kind of a thing. Then there's
Why
a whole.
did you do it?
I did it because like the reason why like I think it sometimes is I was a big fan of wrestling. I tried wrestling. For me, this is like a different persona I'm putting on. Like it is wrestling. It's a separate idea from my real life self, even though it pretty much is just my real life self half the time.
So this has bled into your. I don't know if we're going to end up using this part, but this has bled from your streaming persona into real life because when we went on holiday, I wasn't allowed to post pictures of you and me together. I had to Photoshop your VTuber model face over your own face so that I could post a selfie.
I just didn't want to show my face. That's it. Is that so hard?
I love that you
Yes.
were just like, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if you're listening to the podcast, hop over to YouTube and go and look at the face Isla just pulled. She was
Yeah.
not pleased.
It bothers me because I can't just post a picture. I have to go and edit it first. And I make a point of not putting filter on my face, but I have to put a filter on yours.
Well, we don't need to take pictures anymore then.
No! Your mother's gonna think that I've
Yeah,
abandoned you.
we posted it on our Facebook and everything.
That's different, that's private.
Yeah.
Putting gender aside, we're gonna switch over to a different topic. I don't think I can
Hey.
segue better than that. The new Switch details have been revealed, and this means absolutely nothing to me, given that Walt has a Switch, and I don't know how to use it, I don't know how to set it up. Sometimes I'm handed a controller, and usually I have fun when I'm playing it.
That's fair enough. Yeah, so the Switch 2, very imaginatively named, but I think it's a good move for them, was announced a little while ago. I've been looking at a lot of stuff online, and the trailer was pretty bare bones. We'll put a clip of it up here if you're watching the video. But essentially, it is a walk round of the actual console. It shows you all the different bits and pieces it has, shows you how the new controllers attach. So on the Switch 1, you would push a button on the back of the two controllers either side of this big screen, and you could slide them off. Whereas with this one, they magnetically clip onto the side, so it's easier to take them off and on, that kind of stuff. And those were the main selling points. But I watched a video where a guy basically kind of went in and was like, here is a standpoint from someone who has technical knowledge. Here's what all this different stuff means. And he went around and he kind of did a quick overview. I'm not going to bore you with all the details, but he pointed out so much more than you would actually have gotten from just watching that once and going, yeah, looks like a Switch, but bigger.
So I remember when the Switch 1 came out and there was a big hullabaloo that sometimes the controllers would attach to the screen and then not unattach. If I remember that right.
No, it was you're close. It was the little when you took them off the screen. There's a little plastic bit you could slot in so you could press the shoulder buttons, and it would jam. Mine still jammed, but then people were also stupid enough where they would put it in the wrong way, and that's why it jammed.
Yeah.
So maybe that's
User
why food
error.
magnet.
So like for me, let's be honest, for me, so I've only ever played Walt's Switch. And I thought the Switch was like, do you remember like the PSP?
PlayStation Portable, yes.
I thought that's what that was. I didn't realize it was a whole console within itself.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like
so
it's
yeah,
like the
on your wall,
PSP.
sorry.
It is like the PSP. Like you can take
Right.
it out and it is a screen, and you've got like your controller at the side. But then you've got like a little dock, which is just a cheap bit of plastic, really, that you stick it in, and then it projects it onto like your TV, so you can play it like a normal console.
Ah,
So yeah,
oh,
it's
that's
a hybrid of both. So you've got the screen you can play on the go. You've got your TV you can do at home. So that is what they're trying to stick with. They're sticking with that hybrid console
yeah,
thing because it was really successful. The Switch sold a lot of copies,
yeah.
despite being considerably weaker than the PlayStation and the Xbox that were out at the time. The interesting thing that I heard recently is that according to the specs that were leaked a while ago, which have now been given a bit more credence because a lot of the things lined up with the announcement, it's looking like the Switch is going to be the Switch 2, I should say. It's looking like the Switch 2 is going to be as powerful as the PS4 Pro or the Xbox One S, somewhere in that
wow.
range. So not quite as powerful as, your PS5, and not as powerful as the other, handheld gaming devices that they are based on, but powerful enough to the point that AAA studios are considering supporting new releases on the Switch 2. So the example I saw was Grand Theft Auto 6. Whether that'll happen or not, who knows? But
Oh my god,
Nintendo, I know, right?
that is a wild concept to me. Like imagine being on a bus on your commute to work, like playing Grand Theft Auto 6 and being like, yeah, I love that.
That's incredible because I still use my PlayStation for most things that I play, and that's PS4. So if a Switch can do all of that, I always thought it was just like it was ideal for party games or little things, but it's wow. Okay, cool. I'm sold.
So I think that's what the proof of concept was. So you've got the Switch and you've got the Switch Lite, which is literally just the handheld one without the dock. The Switch was, I think, an experimental thing because they tried to do it with the Wii U, where you had that big. Did anyone have a Wii U?
No, but yeah, no. Anyway.
So
Okay, so if you know what a Switch is, imagine that, but like made of cheap plastic and fucking huge, and also you need a TV at the same time. So the Switch was like, hey, let's consolidate all of that into one sleek console, which has been pretty good for them. And I think at this point they are looking at getting more power into it and
It
having
seems-
more games available.
it seems really popular for a gift for parents to get their kids compared to a bigger console. Like I've seen a lot of like mums go, I'll buy my parents go, I'll buy my kid a Switch, but maybe
Yeah.
not an Xbox.
Yeah, definitely.
It's because
definitely-
Nintendo have that vibe of sort of family friendliness to it,
Mhm.
which
Not
they
with
seem to be
GTA, they'll lose that.
getting over a little bit, potentially with GTA. But I mean, we've had things release on the Wii U, even older titles like Assassin's Creed 3 came out on the Wii U eventually, and there were things like that.
I've known all I know about the Switch is Walt, and whenever we go away to like a hotel somewhere or away on holiday, Walt will take the Switch, they'll play it on the travel, and then they'll also like set it up and take a picture and go like rate my setup, and it's really funny to me because I'm like, I don't know about this, I don't care about this, I don't end up playing on it. All I know is that Walt will take it with them and use it, and it's handy to travel, and then it's handy to plug into a hotel TV screen and have a wee game while I'm snoring away.
That's the only thing though. That's the only time I play it. But that I feel that there's not a strong library. People will argue because they'll be like, "Oh, you get Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild, and Breath of the Wild 2." And I'm like, "Yeah, they're alright, but that's it. There's not really all the other games. You get Mario Kart and Splatoon, but all the other games you can usually get on better hardware, basically."
So that was going to be my next question because I am just so dumb when it comes to like new technology coming up. is like, so how do you get? Because obviously, like PlayStation comes with discs, and obviously when you're PC gaming, you use Steam or you use Xbox Game Pass or something like that. So how do you get stuff on the Switch?
So for those of you on video, here's my
Oh,
Switch.
Oh, here we go.
All right, okay. We live demonstrate.
Here's one. They
Here's one I made
it.
earlier.
Yeah.
So on the top of the Switch, you've
Yeah.
got your sort of power button, your volume stuff, and then there's a little cartridge slot here. So it's very similar to like the Game Boy and that sort of thing. So it is literally
Like an SD
just
card.
a little SD card, and they are horrible. They taste horrible.
They taste horrible. Okay,
Yep.
noted. Yeah. Don't
Why
you don't lick it.
Why do you do that?
Right, so
To prove your point.
I think it's meant to. I think it's more of a rumor, but it's so the rumor. Like I said, I believe it's a rumor. Is that Nintendo deliberately made it taste bad so children wouldn't eat them?
Yeah, no, it's been coated with something similar to, like when you were younger, maybe like someone you knew or you yourself was really bad for biting their nails, so their parents
yeah,
would
and you
put
put
that
that
clear varnish
Stuff
on it.
yeah.
It makes your tongue feel horrible.
Yeah, I can
It's the
taste
same. It's the same idea because they are so small. That was a genuine concern that people would
I
eat them,
thought
so
that
they
was a
made it.
Scott lie.
I thought you
No,
were just
that's
being
real.
wide. I
No,
genuinely
that's
thought you were
real.
just being wide. Or that's quite a good safety feature.
Wait. Walt, is this? That's
I think
That's-
I think it's a rumor. I think it's genuinely a rumor that started back in the day. But
so like a
Walt, go and lick a
placebo.
Switch cartridge right
yeah,
now.
no, but that's the thing. It's just plastic. Plastic's not meant to taste nice.
Well, the plastic doesn't taste of anything. So the
No.
fact that people are saying, but it's not a bad idea because
No.
if it's a family-friendly console and you've got
Yeah.
that little bit that is very swallowable size,
Yeah.
then coat it with something to make it taste bad, and at least small children will spit it out.
But yeah, so one of the things about the Switch 2's release trailer is that they showed off a bit of the next Mario Kart, which people are assuming is Mario Kart 9. I don't know if it's been announced at this point, but Mario Kart 8 was on the Wii U. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe got released on the Switch. People were disappointed there wasn't a Mario Kart 9 release. So one of the things that people have been doing is comparing footage of Mario Kart 8 running on a Switch and what we were shown of Mario Kart 9. And basically what they have said is they have seen way more shadow depth. So light casting shadows, that sort of stuff. Quality of textures. So, skin tones, posters, even down to the texture of the road. Like you could see the kind of asphalt concrete stuff. And speaking of roads,
Beautiful.
that is Scott's little segue into we don't even have a name for this segment yet. Jammy's History Corner? I don't even know. But this is the point of the podcast where I earn my keep at the dinner table, where I merge something related to gaming and something related to Scottish history and make a very loose thread with it. Voila. So on the chopping block this week, I want to bring up the Romans, ancient Rome. More specifically, there are no good Roman games out there. They're all strategy, which really annoys me because I think we had this discussion maybe like episode 2 of the podcast where we were talking about games that there's a gap in the market. I think a good Roman centurion game is you're missing something. Anyway, the only game that I could find that I actually, believe it or not, have watched a lot of people play and I actually really want to play is Gladio and Glory. Has anybody heard of this?
no.
Right. So it's kind of like it was an indie game and basically it's like a ragdoll fighting pit. So you're in a gladiator ring and you can customize your build. But the way that you get beaten and stuff and the way your enemies get beaten, it's like ragdoll. So you never know how they're going to land. It's dead funny. It's dead entertaining.
Is it VR?
No. Yes.
Yes. Okay, then I do know it.
Yes.
I didn't know the name, but I do know it's a funny game.
It's a really funny game, but that is like genuinely in all my research the closest Roman game that I could come up with. Because the rest of it is like strategy on your mobile and like building towns and villages. Anyway, how does this, segue into Scotland, I hear you ask? Well, the Romans never fully conquered Scotland, as we know. They made it to Hadrian's Wall, but they made it a bit further. It's made it up to the Antonine Wall, which is a big, long stretch of wall that sort of goes from like just outside Stirling all the way right through Forth Valley. And you can go visit. There's different like historical things, but there's this place up in Croy Hill, which is just near Forth Valley, Falkirk, and they've made a giant Roman helmet statue, like big giant Roman head sculpture that you can go visit if you're hiking in that area, because Croy Hill was a Roman fort. So the Romans came to Scotland. They made this Antonine Wall, but Scottish people fought them back and they got defeated and they retreated back to Hadrian's Wall, where they remained. But they left all their forts and all their camps and everything, and some Scottish sculpture decided that it would be a good place to put a big Roman helmet. So if you're ever walking near Croy Hill, you can see a big Roman centurion helmet. And that's my little shit Jane fact. You're so welcome. So that is genuinely all we have time for it this week. Next week, we don't know what the topic is. We make this up on the spot, in case you haven't realised this by now. We're very unprofessional. But thank you so much for listening and or watching. I have been Jen.
I've been Scott.
I am Isla.
And I've been Walt.
Okay. Love you. Bye.
Love you. Bye.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.
There we go.